Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's version of WCM's Park Update Supplier Showcase, where we are talking with some of the best and coolest suppliers in the industry. And today, joining me is Steve Dunn, president of Purifyd Systems, and we're going to talk about his product. I think it's a really timely part of the season where you can really start to implement some of these things, and it really have a big impact on your customer experience and just the overall cleanliness of your facilities. So I'll leave it to you, Steve. Just tell us a little bit about your guys' products and how you got started in the camping industry. I'm going to display it on the screen here so people get a sense of what we're talking about.
Sure. And thanks very much, Alex, for the opportunity to be on the show. Greatly appreciate it. And you're right. A lot of people right now are going through the de-winterizing process, and it's an ideal time to pay attention to certain things. Well, I see you brought up on the screen Purifyd Systems Pro. That is our professional system. But let me back up a little bit and tell you how this business started. So we've been doing this going on 9 years now, and I'm the founder of the company. And I started the company because about a dozen or so years ago, I was working with my sister on a health issue that she had, and discovered that we both had a set of common symptoms that came from exposure to toxic mold. And it did some damage to her, it did some damage to me. And investigating that further, I realized that the sanitization industry and the cleaning industry out there is actually doing us a bit of a disservice in that they exclusively focus on surfaces. But it's more than just surfaces you've got to pay attention to. You need to be looking at the quality of the air that you're breathing, the air handling systems, because there's a lot of contaminants that end up in there. So fast forward, what we did is we created Purifyd Systems Pro as a professional system that could be used by basically any company, but we are in the campground, RV park, and marine space significantly. And it will eliminate any contaminant of any size, anywhere, anytime. And that sounds really, really boastful, but it's backed up by 1.5 feet of technical documentation that's filed with the EPA and with Health Canada.
And as you mentioned, Steve, I mean, the difference between surface cleaning and really like air cleaning or the full-on cleaning system that you're able to provide is a big difference. And we know that COVID and staffing and several other issues have just become, an issue for a lot of park owners. So, I've got a chance to learn more about what your products are and what they provide, but can you just talk a little bit about, how you're able to solve those problems and really how you can turn the system into a way that is ROI positive for these park owners, which I know is something that, is huge when we talk about running their business.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Let me go back to a comment I made earlier about the state of the cleaning industry. Surfaces. That's been the focus. Lots of great products out there for doing surfaces. Unfortunately, if that's all you're doing, you're wasting time and money. Because the reality is, and the science will tell you, and you can even find these stats on the CDC website, your chances of picking up an infection from a fomite, which is a contaminant on a hard surface, is less than 1%. What you're getting, and the reason you're getting sick, think about traveling in an airplane, it's all about what's floating around in the air and what's moving through the air handling system. So when we discovered that early on, we knew we had to create a system that made it very, very simple and very easy to handle not just the surfaces, but the air handling system and the interior air quality as well. And that's what we've done. With a rental cabin of, say, 400 or 500 square feet, basically you can have it completely sanitized in under 5 minutes. The nice thing about that is, and here's a stat that's coming from our customers to us, you're going to be able to double the productivity and effectiveness of your housekeeping team by moving away from simple spray and wipe to using our system with the fogger. And that's really, really important for a lot of our customers because they're still chronically short-staffed in housekeeping. But beyond just that, that's actually one part of the ROI equation. And since you mentioned the ROI, I'll bring up the other part. While you're doing these treatments, you're going to get asked questions by your guests. And they'll ask you what you're doing. You'll give them a 15-second response. They'll go away, they think about that. And some of them who are a little bit more up to speed on what's going on inside of RVs, they're going to come back to you and say, hey, could you do one of those treatments in my RV? Because what's been happening for the past 4 years is we've seen a whole spate of class action lawsuits against RV manufacturers and automotive manufacturers for, guess what? Toxic mold in the air handling system. And people got sick. So we've gone about this very much from a preventative perspective. Get rid of the contaminants before they become a problem. Put a smile on your guests' faces and just watch them have a great time.
Exactly. And Steve, I'm going to scroll down further on this page and give some more examples of some popular parks that people in the industry might recognize who are currently using the system and have in place. But can you maybe just elaborate a little bit further and talk about, what the experience has been like for some of your campground and parks that you've worked with as far as what they've seen and just the feedback that they're getting from their guests on, hey, I feel so much better about coming here. It's a place that's safe. It's a place I can come and have fun. And it's now something where I never have to worry about that sanitization issue really again if they come and stay at that park.
Right. That's that is a very good point. So we actually run 2 tracks as part of our business. We work very closely with our associations. So we go to market with the associations. So we are KOA members, we're Camp Jellystone members, we're RVIC members, and similarly up here in Canada, both nationally and in certain cases regionally where we've got a fair bit of density of customer. On the one track, one of the things we pay attention to is what do you need to know today and what do you need to know tomorrow? So it's all been about COVID, right? People are sick of COVID. And great, I understand that, but unfortunately it's still around. With our system, you basically knock down any virus or bacteria in the air in under a minute. With toxic molds, however, they've got those little spores that float around and they're hardened. It takes another 5 or 10 minutes approximately to knock those suckers down. And that's what we've been very, very effective with. So we can go in to a campsite that's maybe got some older units, some musty, smelly cabins, show them how to use this system. And now all of a sudden the cabin just smells clean and fresh. There's no complaints. There's no concerns. And in fact, we actually did have, and I won't tell you who this is, but a customer on the East Coast who had a guest whose son got ill after they left, who called back and said, hey, our kid got sick at your cabin. I need to talk to you about this. The owner went back and he actually had been using one of the testing tools, produced the test results for that cabin, showed him, talked to him about what he was using and what he was doing. And the gentleman said, hey, no, you're absolutely right. Our kid didn't get sick there. And so, there's that aspect to it as well. But more importantly, for the vast majority of your guests, they're walking into your facilities, your rental spots, your glamping units, and it just smells clean and fresh, and it puts a smile on their face, and they see what you're doing, and you're going that extra distance, and you're getting the ratings for it.
Well, and honestly, if I'm a guest too, I would pay more to know that it was cleaned that way. And even if this might cost slightly more, or again, you're just saving the time on the housekeeping staff, so it likely isn't even costing you more at all. It's a win-win-win all the way across the board if I'm a park owner. There's no downside.
You're right. You can go one step further too. And a lot of our customers don't have pet policies. We'll take RV rental.
That's a great point.
For example. And because people are allergic to pets, well, all right, now you get to charge an up fee for bringing your pet along, and you use our system. It strips out all of the allergens. You're basically good to go.
Thanks.
So lots of really neat different things that you can be doing, as well as a set of complementary retail products that can be sold with the professional treatments or just in your camp store.
And if a park owner is listening to this and they say, hey, this sounds awesome. I really want to get this, up and running as we get into the main camping season. I want to get this product in our camp store so we can sell it. Where can they go to reach out, Steve?
Well, they can do one of two things. They can go and send an email to ask at purifydsystems.com. And Purifyd is spelled Purifyd. Or they can pick up the phone and call 1-866-770-0711. I had to look. I don't call myself that often. And extension 1 is sales. And I'll mention with our associations, we always run a spring special, and that's on until the middle of, where are we, May.
That's awesome. And that gives people some good time. Think about it, listen to this, learn more, call them up, talk with the sales team, and then figure out how to get it into your park. Steve, thanks for being here.
Hey, Alex, really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and have a great season.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to this week's version of our Supplier Showcase. We'll see you back here next week on Thursday for another great episode. All right, thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.